Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here tonight, and it seems like a broken record, but we're talking about more rain. The only difference is tonight is actually a little bit of good news. The rain is much more scattered, but here's the thing, especially the rain up here in the mountains and foothills. I talked a little bit about this last night. The rain up in these vicinities, the radar doesn't do it justice. A couple reasons for this. One has to do with the location of the radars, but it also has to do with the type of precipitation. This upslope flow is very shallow, so the radar beam tends to overshoot it. And I was just talking to some of the spotters up here, and my good friend, meteorologist Nate Johnson, his family lives up in the Ashe County area, was telling me they've had at least, I want to say he said probably 6 or 7 inches of rain, and the New River up there was sky high. So really heavy rainfall continues to move into the mountains. And if you look at the radar here, one of the things you notice is just the persistent bands of showers. So if the radar looks like this, I know it's coming down much heavier than that. And I start looking at some of the flood totals, and this is where having spotters up in that area is a huge asset to me. So I love all the reports you guys are giving me from Wilkes County, Ashe, Avery, Watauga, Upper Burke, and Caldwell County, and just looking at some of the lake and river levels, you know the rain's been coming down for quite some time up there. Further south, it's just, you know, occasional downpours, but really scattered. Great news from NASCAR tonight that, you know, down in Darlington, we've been able to get the race kind of going. There's some showers dancing around down there, and there's actually a whole bunch down to the south that are kind of converging. And this is what I think is going to happen tonight. You can actually see this next batch of moisture developing down in here. That looks like it's going to rotate up into here. So I think this is going to fill in during the overnight hours, and we're likely going to see another band of heavy rain develop tonight. Let me go back to the radar up in our area and show you some of the flood warnings we have, because we got a lot of river flood warnings coming up. Just had this one pop up tonight here in southern Anson in northern Stanley County. So this is for the Rocky River near Norwood. At 9 p.m. the stage was 15.8 feet and flood stage is 20 feet. So there's a good chance that this will continue to rise to near 29.2 feet by tomorrow. So, you know, it could be almost to 30 feet. So widespread flooding in that area, you know, just south of Norwood, north of Ansonville. So this area, the Rocky River is right there. So some significant flooding possible in that area. And then we go down the PD River here in eastern Chesterfield County. You can see right there the PD River at Cheraw. Flood stage is 30, currently it's at 22.1. It's expected to crest at 38.8 feet, so about 8.8 feet above flood stage. So pretty significant flooding there. And then we're seeing some flooding on the Broad River here, southwestern part of Cleveland County, down into Cherokee County and South Carolina. So, excuse me. This is for the Broad River near Boiling Springs. It's at 11.6, flood stage is 12. Could go to 13.7 tomorrow. So we're seeing a lot of the water coming up on a lot of these creeks and streams, and that doesn't even count some of the water on the lakes in our area. So it's raining. It's going to rain for a little bit longer tonight. Let me show you Futurecast, and we can kind of show you at the rain. Back this up a little bit. You can see the rain on and off. Excuse me. Man, I swallowed my water the wrong way. So we've had these waves of rain that continue across the area. But there is a little bit of a break that develops middle of the day tomorrow. So maybe around midday, we actually see a little bit of a break. And I think that's a sign of some bigger things that are going to happen here. If I widen the radar a little bit, the upper low, which has been causing all the problems there, is actually showing some signs of weakening more so than moving. So I think as it weakens and maybe drifts in this direction, we might actually eventually see things calm down a little bit. But it's a really impressive water vapor loop. So this shows you the atmospheric moisture in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. And you can see, I mean, that's a huge swirl in the atmosphere, right? And you see the plume of moisture down here, another one coming off the Atlantic. So this has all been oriented into the Carolinas. We need to get this thing out of here so we can get some of this drier air, which is these darker or these lighter shades of yellow and orange. That drier air works in, that actually would give us some much better weather in the long range. And if I look at a Futurecast out to the future here, going into, late tomorrow, it looks like we actually get into a break as some drier air filters in here. And even on Friday, I can't rule out scattered showers on Friday, but they're much more scattered and there's a lot of clearing in between. So even Saturday morning, you wake up, that's not too bad. We see some pop-up showers or storms in the afternoon. And going forward, the rainfall amounts aren't nearly as impressive as they've been recently. So this is through tomorrow night, and then we go into Friday. Notice the rainfall totals just aren't piling up nearly as quickly as they did for the last couple of days. So I think that's some good news and something to look forward to, that we're seeing lower rainfall amounts. But I will caution you, even going into the weekend, as the rain chances kind of taper off to more of the scattered pop-up variety, because everything's going to be saturated. Any little pop-up storm that fires up Saturday, not so much Sunday, but I think on Monday for Memorial Day, while there might not be a lot of them, the ones that pop up could produce very localized heavy rain. And because of everything being saturated, we could see some additional flooding. So that's something to watch out for this weekend. And also, if you're a boater and you're on any of the area waterways, a lot of debris, a lot of fast moving currents. So just be very cautious of that over the next couple of days. Let me quickly show you the rainfall forecast going forward, because I think this is the thing that gives you some light at the end of the tunnel that I kind of hinted at when I posted this, is that going into, tomorrow we still about 80% chance, but by Friday it falls to about 60. And then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I know those, any other time we say those are pretty high chances, 50%, but those are scattered. Those are not going to be all day rain. So when you see these rainfall chances, these are more those what we call diurnal and thunderstorms, which are afternoon and evening storms in the heating of the day, and much more scattered. So more of a typical summer pattern as temperatures kind of return back to the 80s. So we've got one more day, really 24-hour period here of significant rainfall, and then it becomes more scattered going into Friday, Saturday, Sunday. One word of caution, please, if you're near creeks and streams, pay attention to any warnings, because we're seeing a lot of runoff. As you heard, some of these rivers are cresting way above flood stage, and we're going to see those continue to rise. So even after the rain stops, a lot of areas will see water continue to rise. The other thing, even though the winds haven't been too crazy today, we've seen 20, 30 mile an hour winds at times. One of the concerns is that we could have some trees come down. And one of the things about when the soil gets saturated, we tend to see trees come down in very light winds because the ground becomes loose. So even a 20, 30 mile an hour gust can bring down trees. So just a heads up, trees could still come down, and in the mountains, we could still see some landslides because of moistening soil. So there's still some threats out there, even though the rain chances overall are tapering off. So let me show you the radar one more time. I'm going to show you the wider view here, and I'll let you see it full screen. Whoops, that was weird. That was really weird. Let me see if I can, I've never seen him do that before. There's our low, and you can see we've got some scattered showers and still some rain. This, if you're watching NASCAR right now, this stuff down here is the stuff you got to be worried about, because that's got a beeline for Darlington. So I think that's going to be heading right for the Darlington area. So we'll keep an eye on it. Coming up tonight at 11, we'll have the latest on some of the flooding. I'm sure tomorrow, my goal is to maybe go out and check out some of the water tomorrow, maybe fly the drone and see how high the water is. But I think tomorrow, when we get some daylight and the sun comes out maybe in the afternoon, we're gonna have a pretty good idea of some of this water. And if you can send me pictures, I love to pass them along to emergency managers and the weather service. So if you see any flooding, please don't go in the water, do it safely. But send me in reports of flooding, because we'd like to let people know, especially downstream, that there's a lot of water coming towards you. So we'll talk more about that tonight at 11. Be safe. Flood watch continues for tomorrow, likely extended for a few areas, and numerous flood warnings still in effect.